I wish Lip success. I think that I want to encourage everybody who attempts at some new business, and I think that you can be a really important and exciting and fun voice for the community. And so I support what you all are doing, and it's a brave effort to.
Tell me how you got here. What's this?
Well, I did tell you how.
No, I know you go to this this New Year's Eve party.
Yep.
You get some revelation,
yep.
And then how did you go back to grad school?
Where were you? I went
back
to grad school when I kind of manipulated with my supervisor to come here on independent study. And basically what I did is I taught photography here. And that happened throughout Wilmington. So I got 2 credits for teaching photography, and I taught a group of local people. I think there was about 7 or 8 of them. And I did some independent studies in photography for my own personal work, and I had a show at the end of it. And I also took some long-distance courses. I drove back and forth to Amherst going to school.
What school were you going to?
UMass
Amherst.
UMass. I got my graduate degree there. So it was a commute for the first year, and then I graduated from graduate school and then moved down here full-time and originally got a job in retailing and started actually working for Alice Foley at a place called Cat's Cradle in Union Square, which was owned by Kent Catino at the time, who now owns it again. And I gravitated over to the kite store, which was in the same complex. And it was called Outermost Kites, and that happened, I think, in about 1977, somewhere around there. And my original business mentor, Christina Davidson, took me under her wing and taught me how to run a business and really taught me all I needed to know about running a business. And I became her manager, and then I became her partner, and then burnt out of retailing. And with her and her husband, Bill, and Laurel, and myself, we bought Gabriel's in 1979. And this place was abandoned, condemned, a wreck. There was graffiti all over the walls were falling down. It was a total disaster. It was abandoned and condemned building. And nobody would touch it because they felt it was too much money to rehab the property. So we came in there with no money, a crew of women. We all lived here for the first winter together. There's still some local people left from that era. Carol Collins, Carol Taylor, who was a framer here for years and years.
I know Carol.
Yep, Carol and Carol. Morgan Norwood was one of those people, a woman named Kim Dowie, who's also a videographer. You might have met through Laurel. There was a bunch of us. And we fed everybody, and we gave them a place to live, and we ripped the walls down, and we rebuilt Gabriel's, having no idea what to do and how to run it in or anything. And that's how it started. And Christina and Bill decided that they didn't want to be invested in real estate in Provincetown, so we brought them out after about 6 months. And then about 6 months after that, Laurel and I separated in terms of our partnership. And I bought Laurel out, and so I owned it on my own.
And that was in 1980?
Around 80.
22 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. And you're now adding a new building.
We started out with 2 pieces of property. A third property I bought 8 years ago to house my staff. And my staff is scattered about the complex. And then the front building I just bought, which is another single-family home. And I was going to go in and rehab it in September, and lo and behold, the building was in such poor condition that I really had to replace it. So that was quite the financial challenge to do that. But I think what I've got, my end product is really something I'm very proud of. And it's an asset to the town because it's right smack in the middle of Provincetown. So it's a very, very visible piece of property.
What's it like being a business owner in this town?
Difficult. There's always going to be the juxtaposition between the workers and the employers, and they have different agendas. And to marry those two in a way that's going to work for everybody is a constant challenge. I have tried running this business many different ways over the years. Originally, I ran it myself. Then I hired a woman named Pam Parmakian. She ran it for 9 years, and I was pretty much hands-off. I actually moved to New York for 5 years and was working. I was the marketing director for a design firm in the city, doing advertising and graphic design for sort of high-end youth market, Nike shoes, watches, things of that sort. And I thought I could live in New York and realized I couldn't, so I came back and I started running the business again. And recently, our most recent incarnation is that we have expanded in that we have much more kind of high-end offerings for our guests. And along with that, we have a staff right now that is very committed to the team approach to the management of the business. So everyone that is here right now reports directly to somebody that is not me. And we also have on retainer an on-staff healer. And we meet there's somebody who's in the healing arts, and she comes here once every 2 weeks. We meet as a group, so there's about 10 of us that meet as a group, and we just sort of talk about what's going on, what's happening with us on an individual basis, and how we're working together, and how to refine that image of the team of Gabriel's, and how we can make this business better together. And then she's also available anytime, day or night. Any one of my staff members has a personal issue or a business issue or anything that comes up for them, they have access to her. So they can call her anytime, day or night to deal with their problems or challenges. And that's done, it's been incredible. It's been a really, really exciting experiment. It's a new way, it's towards an ethical capitalism.
What do you see the future problems?
Well, it's the obvious. The affordable housing is not going to be taken care of. I don't believe it's going to be taken care of by rules and regulations and town boards. The affordable housing issue has got to be addressed by business people and people who have the money to purchase property.
Now, do you mean that in the sense that they themselves create the affordable housing?
Yes. I think that if we had a consortium of business owners that have done well by this town and can afford to take some risks in terms of an investment and possibly get some state-funded or town-funded backing to come, sort of meet in partnership to purchase property. I'm not into building new houses. I think that the stress level on our resources is almost to the max right now, and I'm saying this totally from a layman's point of view. I haven't done an analysis. I don't understand why we don't reclaim some properties in Provincetown that are underutilized. For instance, my front building, there was one individual that lived there, and it's a 4-bedroom house. So that could very well be shared by more individuals. And there's a lot of properties in Provincetown. When I drive up and down Bradford Street or some of the side streets, look unused. So I'm wondering what's going on with those properties. Couldn't we look into those and see about purchasing what's already existing and then rehabbing them, rather than taking precious land and bulldozing it down and creating new property?
Affordable housing.
Doggy poop. Do you smell it? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's, well, you know what it is? I gave her linatone in her food.
Maybe she's
Kathy. It's a little overwhelming at times, but it's either that or dry skin.
Well, thank God I have my clogged nose today, woman. I don't smell anything. I love it.
Before we're done, though, can I just call my kitties in front of the camera?
Yes, you can too. Anytime you care to, please. Because I would love to put some little snippets of that in there. Affordable housing implies that a person cannot afford to live there. Clearly, isn't that right? And if a person cannot afford to live there, and there are workers because they're not making enough money to live there. So isn't really a living wage the issue, not affordable housing?
That's a very good point. Do you know something, Tim? I'm not the person to ask her on this because I don't really have enough information to respond with an educated response to you. And it's such a huge, huge issue, and it's so complex. I worry about affordable wages because, again, this is the dichotomy between the workers and the business owners, is that we have the appearance of being an affluent community, but the truth and the reality is that we are not. I think we're the second poorest town. Our mean income in Provincetown is just about the second lowest, from the bottom in the state. So that's a huge concern. Unfortunately, we have a 100-day season here, and we have to carry 365 days from what we make in 100 days. So, I don't really see business owners driving around in Rolls Royces. I don't see business owners here, being, frighteningly, making these huge, gigantic profits off the backs of foreign workers. I do see some people in town being successful, as they would be in any town, but I think that